good. So good evening, everyone. So, same as usual, before we continue the class, the teaching, we will do a little bit of meditation, the breathing meditation. Our purpose of this meditation is the reason to meditate. It's to reconnect our, deep essence of our aspirations, and we're trying to get rid or get away from all the source of the distractions and try to connect with us, connect ourselves, and keep our focus in breathing. Okay, so continuously we will take a refuge and generate the mind of bodhicitta. Meanwhile, we take refuge, we must think our intention to, to take a refuge. To take refuge is for sake of all sentient beings. Sake of all sentient beings, we should achieve the state of enlightenment. So through this intention, we will start today's now, after the evening section. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the virtuous merit created by listening to the Dharma, may I attain the state of a Buddha in order to benefit all beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the virtuous merit created by listening to the Dharma, may I attain the state of a Buddha in order to benefit all beings. Continuously we will offering mandala. Through this offering we will ask all the transmission of the sublime wisdom. Through those transmissions we will try to overcome all our obscuration of ignorance. This ground I anointed with the perfumes, taken with the flowers, Mount Meru, the four continents, the sun and the moon, I imagine as a Buddha land and offer to you. May all beings enjoy in this pure land. Idam Guru Rana Mandala Niyataya Me. Okay, so whichever posture it makes you feel more comfortable, you can keep on that posture. So this morning we started talking about 4 noble truths: the noble truths of suffering, noble truths of origin, noble truths of cessation, and the noble truths of path. The 4 noble truths is the basic teaching of the Buddha, and the teaching it's most important teaching to achieve the state of liberations. So that's why it's usually so that's why it's a noble truth. Why it says noble truth? Because it's only truth. Truth belong to the noble beings, the ordinary beings. It's not really. It's a reality, but it's not. How to say? Not truth for us, because we don't believe what it is, how it is. It's actually so related with the the truth. Related with the truth of suffering. Actually, it's a truth of suffering, but we don't think it's belong to suffering. So that's why for us, for ordinary beings, it's based on our belief. It's not how to say. It's not real, because for us, a real is the conditional real. The conditional reality is the it's like a so this is why all those sensual pleasure for us it's belong to the happiness, belong to the pleasure and happiness. But the reality is the suffering. So that's why for us it's not it's not really truth for us, but it's truth based on. So that's why it's for example truth of suffering, and we don't think that the sensual pleasure is make us suffering. Right? If we know if they make us suffering, we are not interested in the pleasure like sensual pleasure. So that's why. So based on like from point of view from noble beings, so all the things which it doesn't matter in samsara, whether it's a contained or how to say contain, the container and the contain, right? Mm-hmm. Our world is container and we are contained.
Content.
We are content, and the world is container, right? Mm-hmm. So the material or the no material, both are belong to the first noble path. But it's a noble path of suffering. But we don't think it's a suffering, so that's why we don't think that the money is a suffering. Money is a suffering. If says the car is suffering, everything it's belong to samsara is suffering. It's sometimes it's it's hard to believe. Then the origin of the suffering also we don't believe. Like the origin of the belief of the suffering, which it's mentioned here, is the delusion and karma, deceive and karma, right? But we don't think that the origin of our problem is delusion and karma. We always accuse the others. Right? If I have a pain, my stomach started to pain, I accuse, because why I feel stomach pain? Because of I ate 4 eggs. I ate 4 eggs, for example, so that's why I don't feel good. I think the eggs is not, maybe it's a rotten or somebody. Always, whatever problem it comes, we always, blame on others, not a blame on the delusion and karma. So that's why it's in reality. All our problem it comes through delusion and karma. Because I ate, because of ignorance. Instead of eating 1 egg, I ate because of my greed. I ate 4 eggs. So now I don't feel good. So that problem comes from the greed, actually. So that's what the cause of my pain of stomach, actually, like, how to say, not wholesome actions, or, how to say, the good deeds, the good, bad deeds, bad action, and, greed. So that's why it's, also it's, actually it's all problem, all our suffering caused by delusion and karma, but the usual people, ordinary people, we don't believe that problem through the greed and through the, destructive emotions. We believe it comes from, and even we had an accident, and then we like, oh, it's accident caused by others. But anyway, so then the next one, the noble path of how to say, cessation. Cessation, we don't have a cessation of the suffering. Also, the cessation only has those noble beings. The cessation is truth for them, but for us it's not truth. And then the path, also we are not reaching the path, so we are, it's only who these, those Arya beings or noble beings, they have a path, so that's why. That's why they call the Four Noble Truth. So right now, so we are these four things are not how to say, our realizations. It's not belong to us. That sooner or later we are going to have it. This is the only way to overcome our circling existence of suffering. So same as Buddha, he said, we need to know what is the suffering, and we need to abandon, to get rid of the origin of suffering. And we need to realize the cessation, and we need to meditate on the path. Once we know what is the suffering, then we need to we are going to develop the mind of liberation. We are going to develop the mind of liberation, the renunciation, and through these renunciations, renunciation of what? Renunciation of the cause of the suffering. Then, for what purpose? Purpose to get a cessation of sufferings. For get a cessation, achievement of cessation. We get an achievement of cessation. We should apply the path. Path is not developed itself. We need to practice. If we don't practice, suffering itself it's not going to disappear, and the wisdom itself is not going to appear awake. We need to awake. So that's why all the path is not the noble path. Like accumulation, they have 5 paths, right? Accumulation and preparation, vision, meditation, and no more learning, right? So accumulation is not a noble path. It's a path, because the accumulation is just entering the path, but still that path still doesn't have a capacity to eradicate directly the delusions. Then once they enter the path, then reach the preparations. After that, enter, reach the preparation. In the moment of the preparation, they developed, the wisdom. They developed the wisdom through inferential mind.
Right.
Not a direct perception, it's inferential, conceptual, conceptual mind, reasoning mind. They developed, but this reasoning mind is an inferential mind, inferential cognition. It's not enough capacity to eradicate the root of sufferings. So once the practitioner meditate on that inferential wisdom mind, that wisdom mind turn the direct perceptions, and they achieve the path of the vision. Once they reach the path of vision, that path becomes a noble path. And why it's become a noble path? From that, started to eradicate directly all the delusions, all the confusion mind, all the misconceptual minds. That direct perceptions improved, and then achieved the state of the meditation. It's that the state of the meditation, all those subtle delusions also started to disappear, started to cleansing.
Right.
And then achieve the state of no more learning. When they achieve the state of no more learning, it's a state of the emancipation. It's a state of liberation they achieve. So this is just how it process the progress of our mental purification. Our mind and our aggregate is contaminated and impregnant, covered by covered by obscuration. All the obscurations started to
impregnated with is what you were going to say, right?
Yeah, impregnated.
Impregnated with, yes.
Completely through.
Completely through. Yes, it's completely covered by all those delusions. Then they started to
more than covered.
More than covered. It's
all the way through.
All yes. All the fabric aggregates.
All the fabric.
All the five aggregates. It's a contaminated. It's a contaminated. It's so deep, and so imprinted.
It's completely impregnated with.
Yeah, impregnated. Yes, it's completely impregnated. So it needs time and process. So process go through the five path. The real process it starts when we reach the path of the visions. The vision we see directly. It's a direct perception how the samsara cheat us. That we not only intellectual or theoretically, so we realize all the samsaric conceptual and delusions, how they deceive us. So we are not going to deceive anymore. It's like they catch in the red-handed. It says the police catch the thief with the red-handed.
Red-handed.
Yeah.
Red-handed,
right?
Right hand or red-handed?
Red-handed.
Right-handed.
Red-handed.
Yeah.
Red.
Right-handed.
The color.
The color red-handed.
Red-handed.
Red-handed,
Red-handed.
it's called.
Just like the color red.
Yeah, they catch
they got them red-handed.
Yeah, they got
that
him
iPhone has a red cover. Red-handed.
Yeah, they got him red-handed. Once they got him red-handed, then
he was running out of the bank with the money in his hand.
Yes, they can't run away.
Caught in action.
Caught
in action. Yeah, when we reach in the state of path of the vision, we are going to catch in
the delusions
in the red-handed. Yeah. So the delusion is not going to he's not going to cheat anymore. Right. So, okay, you caught me now. Until that moment, they always cheated us, So that's why it's hard to believe the money is suffering, the car is suffering.
It's not that hard to believe.
Yeah.
How about the glass?
It's not that hard to believe.
But we pretend not to believe.
We pretend not to believe.
No, we pretend
the the conventional society values
all the values.
Want to constantly messaging to convince you otherwise.
Yes, they're trying to convince. It's true, they installed us to, manipulate, actually. So that's also the, all the problem is caused by delusions, but we are, somehow we know, but we are not interested to know, and it's easy to blame the others when it's easier. So when they blame others, so we feel a little bit, how to say, feel less guilty or feel less, it's more or less relief. It's also part of the cheat. It's part of the samsara, the cheat. But anyway, when we reach in the vision, so we are going to catch in the red-handed, then all the delusion, it's going to, how to say, started to surrender us, surrender the wisdoms, wisdom subdue, then the meditation, and then normal learning. So this is how it processes our mind. So it's we need to effort, time, and how to say persistence. We need to follow. So now, little bit describe more detail with the noble truth of suffering. What is the noble truth of suffering? It's noble truth of suffering. It's the things which belong to the samsara is caused by delusions. Also things samsaric. It doesn't matter samsara or samsaric. It's a continent and contained, right? And like the
container and the content.
Container and content. The container, it means the way we live, all the material things like and the world. And then we are worldly. These all things belong to the noble truth of suffering because it's caused by delusions and karmas. So the noble, noble truth of suffering, they have many way of divided, but generally there's two way of divisions. Two divisions. It's a container and contain. Content. Content. Yes. Content means
container and content.
Yeah, container and content. Content. Yes.
C-O-N-T-E-N.
Container is the world, right? Planet.
Container is the box, and the content is the stuff inside.
Stuff inside, yes. So we are the container. The content.
Yeah.
We are the
We're
content, and the world is container.
Right.
Right. We are the stuff in the box of the world.
Right.
That package brings us a lot of things. When we enter in this package, it brings like a suffering of the birth, suffering of the aging, suffering of the disease or sickness, suffering of death. It's all the package. It comes. It's there. It's there like a container. Contained, right? Container and contained. Okay. So when we talk about that we are contained and the being, the sentient beings not considered as a suffering. What considered as a suffering is the 5 aggregates. Sentient being itself is not a suffering, not a suffer, not a noble truth of suffering. But what is the noble truth of suffering? It's the 5 aggregates which we hold. Aggregates of forms, sensation, discernment, compositional factors, and who's another boy? Who's this? It's Matt,
Yeah, Matthew.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's in his pajamas.
He looks bigger. Anyway, aggregates of consciousness. These 5 aggregates belong to the 4 noble truths. of suffering. I mean, the noble truth of suffering.
Right.
And then all those things that which we, how to say, interaction like our things, the mobile, this is what we're talking about, right? All the material things,
Yeah.
all the sensual objects are also, belong to the truth of suffering.
Right.
So, because the container, right?
Yeah.
Why it's a container is a truth of noble truth of suffering, because that container is caused by delusion and karma, because it's a result of collective karma. We are, collective karma. This collective karma is created by ignorance and attachment and anger. Right? We have a collective, and then every individual we contribute to create this collective world. Collective worlds. We have individual karma and the collective karma.
Right.
The world is our result of collective karma.
Right.
So that's why everything it happens in the world, directly or indirectly, it affects us. It's a collective something, like imagine like the war in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Apparently it's so far,
Right.
but
right.
it affects us.
Of course, like tax dollars is.
Yeah, it affects us because we contribute to create this this conflict somehow.
Right.
How we create this through our ignorance, we don't know. We are not conscious.
Right.
We think that because it affects, because there's something something is connected.
Right.
Something is connected anyway, right? So that's why whatever it happens in the world, it affects something. So because those all effect create us the conflict, create us the sufferings. So there is a war in Ukraine, and then you need to pay more about the olive oil in
Right.
for example.
The transportation costs.
Yeah, it's like you need to pay more. The price goes up. The gases go up. So you once the gases price go up, and then you started to blaming. Oh, the gases are the life is so miserable. I need to pay more. I need to pay more bills. So I need to walk extra walks, etc. Extra hours. So there's something,
Right. Snowball.
Yeah, there's something. So that's why that's why Buddha considered it's the part of the suffering of truth, but we don't. We are not enough conscious. How to say?
We're not aware.
We are not enough aware. Yes.
Yeah.
We are not enough aware.
We don't have enough awareness.
Yeah, enough. Yes. So as less as you are aware, you create more karma to contribute more, to create more. So imagine like most of the time we invest our money in the bank. So most of the bankers, they invest the war, they invest the arms. Actually, right? So we think that we are not contributing. I'm not, but indirectly, without knowing.
Right.
We are something. So that's why samsara is cruel and samsara is violent. It doesn't matter. So why we invest? Because of the five sensorial objects, to get more, better form, better, taste, comfortable, so etc. It's so life in samsara is hard. It's not that easy. So that's why. So when we think, when we meditate through those, and then at the beginning maybe we have a difficulty to believe. Oh, it makes me make us feel like important. We can't do nothing against the violence.
Right.
We
Powerless.
Yeah. We feel like powerless. But slowly we develop our awareness, and then we develop the mind of liberations. Oh, so sooner or later I need to liberate from this world,
Right.
this samsara, and the world is samsara. Because as long as we stay, as much as we're suffering.
Right.
As soon as we, we go away, we run away, we are going to less suffering. So all the things it happens here in this world, it created by karma, our own karma. That karma created by the delusions. What kind of delusions? It creates the delusion of ignorance and attachment and anger. So that's why. So there's another way of make a division. There are three kinds of divisions. Noble truth of suffering is a division. It's a suffering of suffering, suffering of changes, suffering of impregnated or covered
perverted
or sufrimiento,
Pervasive?
pervaded or something that pervades all.
Pervades all.
Pervades. It's
Suffering
covered.
that pervades all.
It's totally covered. Even our body is
It's totally impregnated.
impregnated. Yes,
It's like the dye in the cloth.
Yes. It's like totally impregnated. It's like just mix water and milk. It's a difficulty to separate it. It can't, right? Once it's mixed, so it's mixed. So, for example, our body is not painful at the moment right now, right? But it's impregnated by our own delusions. Sooner or later, it's going to make us pain.
Right.
Why the pain going to appear sooner or later? Because all those delusions, it's contaminated, it's impregnated, totally impregnated. There's a three kind of suffering. So the suffering of suffering it's easy, like pain, worry, conflict. So we are pretty aware of the suffering of suffering.
Right.
But we are not really aware of the suffering of the changes.
No.
So that's why yesterday we were talking we know the suffering. Actually, we don't know the totally knowledge. We don't have it. It's a suffering of changes. Suffering of changes is all those mundane pleasures. We think that it's going to give us the happiness, but at the end, it's not going to give us. So that's why we all know that money doesn't give us the happiness. And when we ask, you want to be happy, and we always say, yes, I want to be happy. So where the happiness comes from, and we're always looking with us, right? It's coming from our inside. All right? And then why you are so longing for have more money, but money help us to have a little bit comfortable life. This is actually, generally. So one hand we says money doesn't give us happiness, and other hand said we wish to have more. We wish to have more. So this is like our dilemma and our anyway. So that's why it's the Tibetan are good to put the nickname, and the nickname of money is called Gunga Tritul. Gunga Tritul means Gunga means make all happy. And Tritul it's going to fulfill your wishes. So it doesn't matter. Everyone loves money. we all criticize this. So that's why I was telling this morning, right? So it's hard to believe that money is part of the suffering. Even we say, we talk, and we understand. But even in the monastery, when there's it happens sometime. Usually they get together an offering. So there is a high offering, and they said, "Oh, the monks should come tomorrow. It's important. Why? Because it's going to have a bigger amount of offerings." So it's so that's why it's we Tibetan says Kungatruduk. It means like make everyone happy and fulfill your wishes. Actually, yeah. So anyway, so that's why all our material objects, like a suffering of changes, right? Suffering of changes is all the pleasure, and the suffering of impregnated. It's all our, so we can say like we have three kind of feelings, right? Or sensations: painful, pleasure, and neutral. All the neutral are also part of the noble truth of suffering, because all those neutral sensation is impregnate of delusions, like our aggregator form. Aggregator form itself is not it's a neutral, like neutral feelings. Our body itself.
Right.
So, but it's contaminated, so that's why it's totally impregnated.
So, Rinpoche, if I walk, going for a walk, that's also the suffering of impregnated suffering.
The action of walking, right?
Yeah.
Action. Yes. So it's actually the suffering is related with the feelings. So we have three kind of feelings, like painful, pleasure, and neutral. All those three things belong to the noble path of suffering, because they all are contaminated, impregnated with delusions. So that's why it's Buddha, he said, Sachetamse, all the contaminated things are insatiable. Like it's never gonna give us totally satisfaction. It's the reality. So sometimes like so what's the reason behind whether the material things are suffering or not suffering? It's if we think it's a part of the suffering, it helps us to reduce our attachment for those objects. This is our main, because the attachment create us more tension. Right? So as soon as you relieve the attachment, you feel more free and feel more relaxed. We feel more relaxed. So that's why it's okay. So there's no reason to have so much attachment toward this computer. The computer is a part of the suffering. Okay, so directly, okay, so it's the past of the suffering. I'm not interested in suffering, so I'm more interested in happiness. So the computer itself is a suffering. So this is what I needed, but I'm not really, I'm not going to attach intensively. So the intensive of the attachment, it goes down. This is the reason behind to, once we know what is the suffering. So otherwise, we need to deal anyhow. I can't I'm not capable to throw this computer into the garbage.
Right.
Garbage.
It still have functions.
It's still functioning. right? I don't need it. But somehow, if I'm aware, this is also part of the suffering. The time when it breaks, I'm not going to break my inner peace. Okay, it's breakable. It's breakable. It's how to say. So this is when we meditate. So otherwise, sometimes we meditate on suffering and we suffer more.
Right.
So that's why people don't like to meditate on when most of the common blame when we meditate and teach in Lamrim, which is part belong to the hell realms.
Oh yeah.
Ah, this is so. Then I was joking. Okay, most of the our students coming from the Catholic, and said you guys are liberated from one hell and enter in the 18 kind of hell, 18 type of hell. So sorry, this is how it works.
Right.
In the Catholic or Christian, they have one hell, right?
Right, they have one hell.
So with Buddhists, we have an 18 type of hell.
No, I think there's multiple levels.
The most different
Yeah,
levels.
if you read Dante and those, there's multiple levels.
The same as like
Like a Buddhist.
Yeah, it's the same concept.
same concept.
Multiple levels.
Yeah. Anyway, so because when we meditate on suffering, so we already suffer. So once again we're thinking about the suffering. So it's a little bit how to say.
I think if you could make that Lamrim Hells into a movie, it would be very popular.
We need to talk in Clint Eastwood or Steven Spielberg to make it's actually I think we have a great scriptures movie. I mean, like Gion, like a scripture movie, those scripts. I think
like a Bible movie?
I mean, like to make a movie.
Ah.
Those directors first they
Scripts.
Yeah,
right?
scripts, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we put this
screenplays.
The script, yeah, the screenplay,
yeah.
the script.
We have a lot of things that we can
Definitely. Especially hell.
yeah, also in the science fictions we can make a. So I'm regret that I didn't study how to direct the films.
How's what?
I think also we can make a video games.
Definitely.
Yeah, a lot of video games related with those, like
Well-beings.
those beings, and video game to wisdom and ignorance.
Ghosts too.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of.
You have to have the ghosts and the hell.
Yeah,
Halloween's come.
Halloween's coming. Everybody's completely enthralled with Halloween.
Well,
Yeah.
if you want to see
You
the
saw
suffering
the
of
Skeletons, yes.
on the road,
well,
just on this road, on Homeland. Right?
Yes, it's beautiful decorations.
Yeah, we saw too.
Yeah.
Well, if anyone's interested in see the suffering of the animals, just watch the nature channels. Oh my God, life is terrible.
Yeah, actually it's.
Animals.
But anyway, it's so that's why we need to aware, and as soon as we aware, we are going to suffer less. Actually, otherwise suffering is going to our destiny. So we need to take a consciousness, the sufferer. So that's why. That's why the reason that Buddha teach us first the noble path of suffering, that we take consciousness, right, about suffering. That suffering is not going to be our destiny. As long as as long as we ignore, or as soon as we ignore the suffering, we are not going to get rid of the suffering. So that's why. So we need to know what is the suffering in this samsara. So now the next is the origin of the suffering. The origin of the suffering, it's how he described. It's something which is related in samsara, and it's going to be a cause of suffering. It's something. So that means the cause is going to be cause. The origin Is it okay?
Yeah, maybe it's the day's trying to call in or something. Just ignore that. Or shall we try to call?
Yeah.
Matt, can you call Xiaomei?
Origin of suffering. So the origin of suffering, when we divide it in two, delusion and karma. Right? The delusion and the karma. So the delusion, there are a lot of many different types of delusion. The most strong and the most powerful delusion is ignorance, attachment, and hatred. These are the three delusions which So the root of these three is ignorance. The ignorance is because of ignorance we create the karma. Because of this karma, it's the karma imprinted in our mind, in our consciousness. Once it imprinted in consciousness, then our mind is like imprinted. Imprinted.
Imprint,
the different,
imprint,
imprinted.
the karma.
Like numerous, like uncountable karmas, right? So those uncountable karma which imprinted, and sooner or later it awake or it manifests.
Yeah.
Manifests through the anxious, through the desire, right? Through desire and grasping, craving, grasping, and then manifest.
Right.
Becoming. Once it manifests, then it's manifests. Create like a name and form at the creation, the moment of the creation, name and form. Then create the faculties.
Yeah,
then the 6 faculties. When the 6 faculty created, then the contact create the feelings.
Right.
The feeling is very feeling has one of the main role to create attachment and aversions, right? We attached to toward and fear, desire. We attached to have good feelings. We aversion or reject the bad feelings. We are fear to not finding. We are worried to not find good feelings. We are worried to lose our possessions, the things. So feelings have a lot of things. The feeling, then that feeling create, and then we born, and once we born, the package. It's we age, we disease, sickness, and dying, and again. So it's like inexhaustible.
Yeah, inexhaustible.
Existent of circle existent. It's every day. I think since we woke up this morning until now, we created billions and billions of karma. All those karma impregnated in our consciousness. Even most of them we are not aware. We're trying to, but actually yes. Because why we are not aware? Because we are not well centered. We are so distracted. And we have our mind is so distracted. So we are not aware. If you started to aware, you started to observe, then it's going to surprise us how many things it happens in my mind, and just in one single day. So imagine the day, weeks, months, years. So that's why it's great. Because of our, so we create different karmas, military karmas, non-military karmas. So the military karmas, cause us to born in higher realms, and the non-military karmas cause us to born in lower realms. So our existence is like so many ups and downs. It's like a bucket in the wheel. It goes up, every time goes up, we hit on the wall, right? Every time we goes down and another hit. It's life is actually, if we think seriously, it's it's so tiresome. It's very,
Yeah, it's very tiresome.
it's very tired. So also in our all, there is no any experience that which we didn't how to say have it. Every samsaric. So only the experience that we need to gain is experience of the liberation, experience to living without fear, living without delusions. This is the only. So that's why the origin of this all all those how to say
Origin of the suffering.
origin suffering is conflict. It happens behind there is it's like the ignorance. The only way to overcome the ignorance is applying the how to say direct antidote. Direct antidote ignorance is the wisdom. Once we achieve the wisdom, once we have the wisdoms, so wisdom itself despair, is it right word? Despair? Dispel the darkness of the ignorance. So same as like when the sun arises, the darkness goes away.
Right.
When darkness goes away. This is the law of the nature. So so that karma runs by the delusion. The delusion runs by the ignorance. So so at the end, the ignorance is the most problematic.
Right.
So that's why. We need to develop the wisdom. The wisdom is the only antidote which can dispel the ignorance. So that's why it's so once dispel the ignorance, it's going to disappear the delusions. Once it disappears the delusions, there is no creator of karma. So if there is no creator of karma, we don't need to experiment the result of the karma. So we will achieve. This is the like idea of the Buddha. So that's why in the Buddhist we take refuge in three jewels: Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. The real refuge is the Dharma. So Dharma, there is two kind of Dharma. Dharma, which is scripture, scripture, right? And which another is the realizations. The scripture is like the references of the Dharma. It's like representing. It's a knowledge. The real Dharma, the real refuge is the realization. Once we realize the wisdom, so it's we will dispel the ignorance. Once we dispel ignorance, the delusions are no more going to exist. Then karma there's no karma. So we will get it. So that's why the Buddhist tradition, when we ordering the three jewels, first we the text, the scriptures, we consider it as the most precious, even more than the images. So that's why in the many Asian Buddhist countries, we have some kind of, I would say, costume or rituals. If something problem, if there's some conflict in the village, or there's some disasters, like natural disasters, like drought. There's no rain. Drought. When the time of the drought, and the villagers usually take out the old kanjur and tenjur, like the textbooks, the classic textbooks. They carry on their back and they walk around the village. It's like usually many of Catholic countries, they do processions, right? They take out the images of the Jesus and the virgins, they go around, the people clap and they receive.
Right.
So in the Buddhist tradition, instead of carrying out the images of the Buddha, they carry out all the texts, all the textbooks, the classic textbooks. Because we think that the textbooks are more important than, more powerful than the image of the Buddha itself.
Right.
So that's why our real refuge is the Dharma. So that's why Buddha is like a doctor, the Dharma is the medicines, and Sangha is like a nurse, right? So if you find a good doctor, but if you don't take the medicines which the doctor prescribed, it's not going to cure.
Right.
If you follow the very good teacher and very qualified, even like a teacher, the real Buddha, it's enlightened, but if you don't follow his word, his prescription, the Dharma, you are not going to achieve the Buddhahood. So that's why the time of the Buddha, Devadatta, right? Devadatta, he lived many years with the Buddha, the actual Buddha, but he never followed his teaching. Whatever Buddha said, he was against. So that's why he didn't get a state of liberation. Even he was next to the Buddha.
Right.
So all the other students achieved the liberation in the 5 minutes, and 10 minutes, in 1 hour. It's just because they follow the teaching exactly. So it's something. It's common sense. It's common sense, and so that's why in our human relations, sometime we will have as a human, we are fallible. We are controversial.
Yeah.
We are fallible, and we make mistakes. We create conflict.
Yeah.
And we are controversial.
We're controversial.
Yeah.
We're controversial beings.
We are controversial beings, and we are fallible beings. So that's why sometime in our human relations, the relation between teacher and students, sometime it's not good to criticize anybody. Sometime maybe the teacher is free of the defect, but our eyes is full of the defect, and we see sometimes problems.
Right.
Sometimes we see the problems. We see problem, how he behave, how he talk. So in the monastery, usually we are so devoted to our teacher, right?
Right.
So devoted to our teacher. Then one day, so one of the student started criticizing his own teacher, his own tutor. Then, because the tutor becomes an abbot of the monastery, so then the other monk says, "Oh, how is possible? You are criticizing your own teacher." He said, "I don't want to criticize my teacher, but teacher went to place where the people can criticize." As an abbot, you need to administrate, leading politically, right? Politically correct, politically not correct. You need to, lead the group.
Right.
When they lead the group, it's very difficult to contain everyone.
Right. If it became a political, if you take an office.
Yeah, it's somehow. So then he said, I don't I don't want to criticize my teacher, but teacher himself took the place where the people can criticize. So sometimes it happens. So anyway, this conflict, it's like a human conflict, it's okay, but we never, I would say, go away from the teachings, the wisdoms. Right? Once we, I would say, take a part, I would take, I would say, this biya is like the wrong direction toward the wisdom, then we only have ignorance. It's the path which we following is the path of the wisdoms.
Right.
Yeah. So once we say,
any other way would be the path of the ignorance.
We divert.
Yeah,
We divert the path which is waiting. Accept the wisdom is ignorance. There is no third path.
Right.
So sometimes we have so especially when we talk about the devotion of Guru. So the devotion of the Guru. So sometimes so the devotion of Guru is okay. So you can criticize your teacher as a human, as a fallible, but as you respect the teacher as a spiritual
leader or
spiritual guidance.
Right.
The spiritual guidance. So that's for me. It's acceptable, and it's because when we anyhow when we stabilize the relation, and there we stabilize two kind of relation: the human relation and the spiritual relation. The human relation is breakable.
Right.
The spiritual relation is unbreakable. It's we need it keeps anyhow. It keeps in our consciousness, life after life, until we achieve enlightenment.
Right.
So that's why. Sometimes I joke with my dear students. I'm also have a resentment toward my teacher when he beat me. I'm not angry. Nobody deserved the beat. Even he beated me like because of my naughty, or because of his compassion. But there's not any justification related with the beating. So I had this. I'm so grateful to it taught me a lot of wisdoms. I'm so grateful. But all those beat, heated that which he, which he had done. I'm not angry, and I still have a resentment. So, but anyhow, I was pretty smart when I was a kid. I have my tutor and my root gurus. My root guru is the previous life of Wangwar Rinpoche. Khyentse Rinpoche is my root guru. But he was so nice and kind. He's very protective. And my tutor, sometimes he manifested as a little bit serious. But my tutor is also direct disciple of the previous Wangwar Rinpoche and Khyentse Rinpoche. And we were living in the two. I was living in the right corner, and my tutor lived in the left corner. So whenever my tutor, my root guru, whenever my tutor trying to hit me, I started screaming, "Ah!" and I ran away next to my root guru's room. And suddenly my root gurus come out and he protected me. He said, "Who allowed you to beat my son? You used to be naughty too when you were a kid."
Yeah.
So he always protected me. So most of those senior monks are so laughing, like, they make them very, how to say, funny. Because they said, "You are so smart, and before cheating, you already screamed, trying to know everyone." So that's why I didn't receive much, how to say,
Physical beating.
physical beating and physical beating. Even in the Tibetan and Eastern culture, is a physical beating in the old time is pretty common.
Right.
Pretty common, like
Yeah.
it's pretty common.
Right.
But I didn't receive much. And the things, the physical beating that I received, still I'm not agree. I'm not going to testify. Because of this.
We go with non-violent of any kind.
Because of those beating, now I learn. Now I can learn without beating too.
Right.
So I don't know. It's irrelevant. There's no.
We're talking about the guru devotion.
Yeah. So.
And the guru and the student relationship at the spiritual level and at the human aspect.
Yes, in human aspect. So it's human aspect. It's okay. Sometimes we will have a different opinions. It's okay.
Right,
it's a pretty common. So
Yeah.
we don't need to be it's hard to always have the same opinion.
Especially when the teacher takes the office and become a political take a political position.
So yeah, it's hard because this is our right of expression. As a women, we have a right of expression. So it's okay if the teacher show us long face, but it's okay. I'm sorry because I need to keep my human rights.
Our 5 aggregates.
Yeah.
The human right or the right of the 5 aggregates.
So anyway, it's so that's why follow the path of wisdom. It's very most important than So also it's Lama Tsongkhapa. He also said the teacher show us the path of wisdom we need to follow, but the teacher show us the path of ignorance we don't need to follow. So we don't need to take a reference as a teacher because he is already showing. So it's at the same time, but sometimes we think that we are our students, we don't know, we are ignorant. This is just excuse to excuse based on your power of your blind devotions, power of blind devotions. So that's why at the same time because the teaching of the Buddha is based on common sense. We follow the common sense, and at the same time we develop the wisdoms. We learn how to distinguish between right path and wrong path.
Right.
So in this case, there's if the teacher show conditionally, if teacher shows the wrong path and the ignorance path, if you don't follow, it's not create any negative karma.
Right.
Not create any negative karma. It's create a good karma because you help teacher to avoid creating karma. So it's create the military karma. It's considered as a military. So so that's why that's our main refuge is a refuge of Dharma, because of the wisdoms. The wisdom is the only factor which has a power of dispel the ignorance. Until we dispel ignorance, we are not we are not going to stop creating more karma. So then the circle of existence is always goes on, always. Okay, so now I think it's now origin of the path of, how would I say?
Origin of the suffering.
Noble truth of origin. So now noble truth of cessation, right? Noble truth of cessation. The cessation, it means separation. It's a separated telwa. It's like a separated. We separated once we achieve the noble truth of cessation. We separated the we make divorce with ignorance and delusion and sufferings. We separate it with the sufferings.
That's a good divorce.
So now we are engaged with the suffering, right?
Right.
Until we achieve the, when we achieve the noble path, we start the process of divorce. Mm-hmm. And when we achieve the cessation, we are fully
permanently
divorced. Yeah, fully divorced, fully separated. Now it's not involved with the sufferings. So it's a separation. It's a separation itself. So it's a part of the separation. So this it's consumed all the cause of the delusions. It's not going to produce again. It's called the separation, or it's called cessations. So the good thing is, once we achieve the state of the cessation, and then we don't need to. We are not going to back to suffering, because it's also it's like totally. It's not going to produce again. It's totally consumed. All the obscuration is purified. It's not going to produce again. Our mind is clear mind, become a clear and free of all type of sufferings. So just before we achieve the cessation, we need to go through the path of uninterrupted path. And next to the uninterrupted path, we achieve the Namdrelam, the path of emancipations. Once we achieve the path of emancipation, we achieve the cessations. Once we achieve the cessation, we achieve the total, completely separation with the sufferings. So we are totally liberated of suffering. So right now we are so engaged with the suffering, so that's why we have a difficulty to separate, live without sufferings. Because we are impregnated, engaged, and in reality we are so faithful. We are faithful with the ignorance, so that's why we are so faithful with the delusions. We follow all the order that we receive from the delusions. We follow because of our being faithful. So now it's good to be faithful, but it's not a right way to be faithful with someone who cheated you, things like this. This is a noble part of the cessation. The cessation, when we achieve the cessation, we cured totally our emotions, because now our emotions are hurted, injured, and actually the delusions are injured emotions. It's injured. It's not a healthy emotion. It's injured emotions. Our feelings are hurted, so that's what we suffer, right? So our right way to cure those emotions, and through the path, we need to cure it. So that's why attach ignorance and the wisdom. The other face of the ignorance it's the wisdom actually, right? Because of the ignorance, we can develop the wisdoms. We don't need to feel aversion toward the ignorance. We need to cure the ignorance. And hatred is another phase of compassion. Another phase of compassion. Something it matters. It's something matters, so that's why we feel irritated.
Right.
It's nothing matter. It's not. We are not going to irritated.
Right.
We irritated because it's the another phase of the hatred, anger is compassion. We need to feel developed, through the power of compassion. We need to cure our, illness, emotion like anger,
Right.
injured emotion like anger. So attachment is also, not fully developed love. So we need to help the attachment to develop better through the power of the love. So that's why all those emotions are injured now. So that's why our feelings are hurted. So we are, how to say, we are wounded. Actually, we are wounded emotionally. So we don't know what to do. So best medicine is the path, the noble path of the, noble truth of path, noble to the path, right?
Yeah, noble truth of the path.
Noble truth of the path. So through the path we can cure. Once we cure all those emotions, then emotions, are fully developed, and we feel healthy. We become a healthier person, right? So Buddha actually Buddha is the healthiest being in the world. This is the way we maybe this way we understand better. Okay, so now Rangi so the noble path is like the noble path is it's part of the method which I would say which help us to achieve the cessation. The path which lead the cessation is called the noble path of the noble truth of the path. Noble truth of the path. So that's why all the paths not directly lead the cessation, and how to say. So that's why all the paths are not noble path. The noble path start through the vision. Accumulation and preparation is not a noble path, because these two paths not lead directly to the cessation. Also, the omniscient mind is also the path. But the omniscient mind, it's path, but it's not lead the cessation. But it's a part of the destiny. And part of the destiny. So there are two kind of path, like a path which leads the destiny and the path which belong to the destiny. So the omniscient mind is the path which belong to the destiny. It's destination, right? Omniscient mind. But omniscient mind, how to say?
Does it lead to the...
Omniscient mind is free of opponents. It's free of opponents, right? Actually, all the paths need opponents, but the omniscient mind don't have any opponents because
he's the winner.
He's the winner. He's already it's the victory.
Right.
Yeah, victory. But it's considered as a path because path of the destiny. So, okay, the cessation, I forgot to make a division of the cessation. The cessation, they have three kinds of cessation. Cessation which is belong to the hearer,
Yeah.
and which is belong to the solidarity, realization solidarity, which is belong to the bodhisattva, it's a Buddhahood. And then same as the path which is belong to the, like a hearer, path which is belong to the solidarity realizations, and the path which is belong to the bodhisattvas. Right. Also now like path. So this is just a brief description of Four Noble Truths. Now there is 16 attributes of Four Noble Truths. 16 attributes so now the 16 attributes. Okay, so do we have until 9 o'clock or 9:15?
We can go the time is flexible.
Time is relative.
Right, as long as you're willing to talk, we have all the time to listen. So I'm serious, like 9:15 is okay.
So do we
questions?
Questions?
Want to open for
this
the
morning I
questions?
didn't. Yes.
Right.
I didn't
take questions.
Give the time to make questions. So do you have any questions? We can, or you have any something you guys want to share? Also, we can talk. It's like an open,
Open floor.
Open floor, open seminar, or.
I have a question, Rinpoche. Oh, let them answer first. Let them ask first.
Yes, please. I think no, they make it. Yeah.
I have, I don't know if I understood very well, but you said maybe that, hi,
Hello.
but you say, as far as I understood, that we as sentient beings, all the sentient beings are not bad or part of the suffering, but all five aggregates or aggregates are part of the suffering?
Yes. Yes, it's part of the suffering. All our aggregates. As a sentient being is not a noble part of suffering, but our aggregates are part of the sufferings. Yeah.
Part or part of the
Part, P-A-R-T. Part of the, yeah.
They are the what causes the causes of suffering.
Yes, it's like the sufferings are contaminated. Our aggregates are contaminated. So that's why it's contaminated of the delusions. So delusions are so impregnated.
Okay.
Yep.
And we as sentient beings, humans are.
It's another part of sufferings.
No, yes, but we are continent or container.
We are continent.
We are continent
Yeah.
of the suffering.
Yes, so it's a continent. Our container is a world, right? Our house is a container. We are the contained. Contained, yes. Yeah.
Contained.
Contained, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So Rinpoche on that, if our five aggregates are content or container?
Our
Our five aggregates.
five aggregates are contained.
Are content.
Contained, yeah. in this case is contained.
And the sentient beings is not sentient beings is not suffering, you say.
Kamsa. Sentient beings are not a part of the kamsa. It's
The
not a
sentient
part
beings
of,
are
yeah.
not part of the suffering
Yeah.
because it is a name.
It's like that was. Yeah, it's just how to say. It's not a. Their nature is not a. It's not part of the suffering. It's a natural or like essential, or essence or the nature is a part of suffering. Then we cannot overcome the suffering.
It's because it's not the essence of the sentient being.
Yeah.
Is what's that? The essence of the sentient being is that like the Buddha nature we're talking about?
Yeah, it's a Buddha nature. It's essence like it. So now.
Like the clear light.
Yeah, clear light.
We're talking about the clear light that.
So our nature, so this is depend on the philosophical group. In this case, it's just a nature emptiness.
Yeah.
Empty. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
So Rinpoche, so the suffering, the noble truth of the suffering, is the conventional truth, or it's
The noble
noble
part,
truth, noble.
part of the suffering is a conditional truth or ultimate truth, right?
Yeah.
This is two different. Of
It's
course, it's a
different.
conditional truth.
It's a different category.
It's a different category of as a truth. Here is not a.
We can't compare that.
Yeah, it's something when we're talking about the truth, because there's this definition of truth, and the definition of Four Noble Truth is the truth is different.
Different.
Yeah,
Well,
different.
okay.
Yeah.
I can't mix the two.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe today we stop here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we stop here.
Everybody's,
So tomorrow we will continue. Tomorrow, yeah, it's 10 in the morning. 10:30, right?
Right,
Yeah,
tomorrow,
okay.
because we have a lot of things to.
Please, I have
Another?
a commentary.
Yes, yes.
For example, we have suffering of suffering,
Yeah,
that is pain.
yeah,
For example, I lose a leg,
yeah,
so that's pain.
Yeah.
Because it's pain.
Yeah.
That's all. And if I should, for example, I should live without a leg,
yeah,
my future days, if I keep on suffering, that is an option. That suffering is an option. If I decide not to suffer, even though that I have just one leg, I can take that option.
that option, yes. Anyhow, it's painful. Not having a leg is more difficult than having a leg. So but suffer is related with the suffering is optional.
It's optional.
Yeah.
Okay. And maybe we are so used to suffering that we don't see that we have the other option, not suffering.
Yeah,
Yeah, suffering is an option. Pain is
unavoidable.
unavoidable.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
Pain is temporary and suffering can be, well, temporary, but a long lasts more time.
yes,
We
yes.
take that.
Actually, yeah, the pain is more physical things and suffering is more mentally.
Mentally.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, suffering and pain.
yeah.
And why is suffering that impregnates everything? Why is neutral? I don't understand that.
It's a neutral because there's no any feeling of pleasure and feeling of not pleasure. neutral. It's some, yeah. It's for example like it's a feeling. We have three kind of feelings, right? So it's a pleasure feelings and unpleasure feelings and neutral feelings. Aggregates are neutral feelings. Like a body itself, right now I don't feel nothing, it's neutral. I don't have any pleasure feelings, I don't have any unpleasure feeling, I'm just okay. So it's kind of like a neutral, kind of neutral.
But why is suffering?
Why is suffering? Because it's insatiable. It's a contaminated. It's contaminated, yeah, it's not a pure. Okay. So that's why it's something, yeah, it's something, it's like, how to say, sooner or later it's going to create us a problem.
Yes, where our body is.
Yeah.
Or mind or body, yeah, well, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's going to deteriorate.
Yeah.
It's deteriorating.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Simon, yeah.
Thank you, David.
You're welcome. Yeah, that's,
Rinpoche, I have a question. Now it's regarding feelings. So, or any emotions. You mentioned that delusions are emotions.
yeah.
They're just, injured or
Yeah.
injured emotions. What's the difference between feelings and emotions? All of a sudden, I'm a little
Feelings and
confused.
emotions, it's a feelings. Feeling is like a chorwa. It's something. I think emotions are more mental and feelings are more
Physical.
Like how to say, sensational. Factor mental, but it's more gross actually. The nyomongs are emotion. Nyomong means like the
delusions.
Delusions. It's a decisive. The feelings is a result of this decisive.
What do we need? What's the purpose of emotion? Why do we have it? What's the purpose of emotion?
If we don't have emotions, we become insensible.
So we'll be crude, but
if we don't sense nothing, then kind of what to say. We become a horse. It's hard to develop the compassion and love. So we become a kind of pathology. There's a kind of disease. They don't feel it, right? So they don't know. Then without emotions, we can survive. There's a kind of disease. They don't feel it. Even they burn the hand.
right.
So then.
But that's just sensorial.
Sensorial.
But the emotion is mental.
So because they lack something, they are physically. So that's why emotion it interpret. Oh, I'm burning my hand, so I'm going to take it out. Once they know it. If they don't know, they just let it burn it. For example.
Wouldn't that be a logical thing? Like if you see the damage and it affects your function, then it's a logical decision not to do it.
Not to do it. That logic comes with emotions. Because attachment. Attach the body. I need to leave it. This is my body. I'm not going to burn it. Or I'm going to destroy it because now I'm hated. My body, this body is senseless. There's a lot of emotions. It's
right.
The logic is in intelligence. That intelligence comes through the emotions.
So the Buddha's enlightened beings have emotions, but the emotions are
Constructive emotions.
Constructive.
Yeah.
So there's no way you can avoid emotions.
Okay, so I think we will stop. We are going to stop here today. Tomorrow 10:30 Eastern time. we will follow we continuously tomorrow, the Four Noble Truth. Okay, so we're going to offer our mandala. This ground anointed with the perfume, steven with the flowers, Mount Meru, the four continents, the sun and moon, I imagine as a Buddha land and all offered to you. May all beings enjoy in this pure land. Idam Guru Rana Mandalagam Niyatayame. And so, dedication. We will dedicate all our merit, benefit of our own beings, benefit of our own self, and benefit for all other beings. May the precious mind of enlightenment, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born will not decline but increase forever, in order to follow the excellent examples set by the wisdom of the Bodhisattva Manjushri and the always sublime Samantabhadra. I dedicate all virtue to their peerless ideals. All impures pass into the 3 times have praised as supreme. A peerless dedication, therefore, I also surrender all roots of my activities to the sublime goals of Bodhisattva. May all sentient beings, our fathers and mothers, have stable happiness. May all the able-gone realms become empty forever. And may all the prayers of all the Bodhisattva, wherever they reside, be fulfilled. Nyawadi Nyudoda Lama Sangye Tukune Provachi Gyamale Chebi Sala Goyova Risho Aso Chinye Sapri Gyawa Pitana Roa Puna Kamet Chavarjizyo no Santawa Tembe Nyingbo Rinpo Seje Sho Temwari Choge Machaba Chapsa Nyambari Kyubi Chode Ninja Chimbo Yirapcho and then they sell a Cheva Risho. Okay, thank you so much for everyone and see you tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Rinpoche.
Thank you. Good night. Bye-bye. Buenas noches.